Alright, this book report, because I get the sticker off here. I didn't know I still had it on here. I bought it recently. Alright, I'll have to go with what it's not going to get off real easy. It's called Cosmos Close Up. This is another good picture book series. It's put out by Gile Sparrow. And it's a lot more Hubble Space Telescope pictures. It's put out by FireFly Books. These are good pictures of some of the intelligent design stuff, extraterrestrial stuff. There's a picture of that. These honeycomb cocoon-like structures that they haul matter around and stuff. You can see that in those pictures. So if you're into studying that kind of stuff, extraterrestrial phenomena, I'd recommend getting a copy of this book because it does have it in there. That is something they're discovering out there. So this book is a little bit unusual over some of the other stuff. It's got pictures of the Earth, you know, in close-up pictures. You go from picture of Earth to a close-up picture. So it's got it's got good stuff as far as what the mountains look like out there. And here's a good picture of a close-up. Some of the Earth-based telescopes can get close-up pictures of the moon. So if you don't have access to one of those, this is one of the picture books. You can see, kind of get a good feel for what they can see in some of the bigger telescopes. If they're looking at the moon, a lot of times they're not. There's a good example of that. You see the square of where they're zooming into, and then you get the image as to what they're actually seeing. So you see why some people get their astronomy degrees out there and they get lucky. They can access some good telescopes, and they can actually see some pretty good images. It's got close-up images. There's a picture of a volcano on Mercury, and you can see the zoom. What's Space Probe? That was one of the Mariner 10 pictures. Some of those Mariner 10 pictures have been digitally enhanced and made color and stuff. They really weren't that great to photograph them at the time, but they can actually re-enhance them and stuff. And actually you get a good photograph from an old photograph. It really wasn't that great. All the Mariner photographs were in black and white. And they were good for their time, but they really weren't that great. But they can enhance them today's time and do some photographic miracles, and you get some good pictures. There's a picture of a volcano on Venus. There's been a lot of several space probes that have gone out to Venus, and you get a good view of a volcano that's actually erupting. Venus is the most Earth-like world out there, and it was put out there by ET for a reason. I suspect eventually they would probably move it, and it'll be put into a Goldilocks orbit around the sun someplace, and it'll eventually it'll cool down and become an Earth-like world. But a good portion of the Earth's history was nothing but Venus. And your evolutionary scientists try to explain, well, that was its stellar evolution here at the sun. Well, that doesn't mean that's exactly true. For a good portion of its history, it could just have been another Venus out there where an Earth-like world and stuff was actually watching the planet. And, you know, that's one of my theories. And, you know, is it possible, since their scientists might have gone and visited Venus, they leave stuff out there, probes and stuff, and then the planet moves, so what's the chance that they left, Earth was one time Venus, and the Earth got moved, that some of that stuff that's still left out there would be still on the planet Earth, that it survived the trip from point A to point B. my theory is they freeze the atmosphere and they freeze the planet's biosphere when they move it, and the Earth is just basically a snowball, and its atmosphere is frozen, and then they can move it. And there's only some indicators in the Earth's geography history of that where that could have occurred at, but it would be hard to prove because the Earth has the atmosphere, a lot of the rain is happening on the planet Earth, and it covers up any evidence for being able to prove that. So it wouldn't be easy to prove that. And Venus does have an atmosphere, and even though it's uninhabitable for life, it's very thick, but it'd be hard to prove that, even on Venus. Here's a good picture of an asteroid, one of Eros. You want to know why is it those are still out there? They, I don't know, that's a good clue what they possibly could be used for, why those were left out there and they weren't cleared out of the asteroid field. Here's a good example of a huge crater, and you'll see this throughout a lot of asteroid craters. It's about roughly the same size. It's where the Death Star actually superheats the crater, and whatever they were using, putting together, you'll see this consistently in a lot of asteroids out there, and it was actually left. So an extraterrestrial out there is basically giving you clues as to, hey, we were out there. It's this picture of Jupiter's red spot. That's really nothing new, and most people know what it looks like. There's a picture of Io, a volcanic eruption on Io. Some of the planets they have proven that do have active volcanoes. That was some of the evolutionary theories of some of the scientists, and how that's how these planets came into being and stuff. But they only found volcanoes in some planets. This picture of Europa and its ice fields, that'd be a good planet to visit if they could put a planetary probe to melt through the ice. They might find some liquid water underneath, and you could send a probe down there, and you might find some kind of life. That ice does provide some protection from solar rays and stuff. So I mean, it's not totally impossible. Here's a good picture of a slag spot on Ganymede. This is on a moon. It's one of Jupiter's moons, but I can show you that that's also a product of being superheated, and a process that they use to create those. I can prove, if I had a laboratory set up someplace and a little bit of new engineering where I could actually create a dust-like effect and create dust in a room, and then create something similar to a room ionizer, and have a controlled experiment. You could actually prove that's what those moons were also collecting. They were also being utilized to clean up the similar to like a room ionizer, clean up space dust out there and give you a more clear solar system. You want to have good, clear viewing out there, and you don't want to be bombarded by space dust all the time. It's not healthy in the first place, but it's similar to an ionizer, and they actually can use it on a planet, and it actually utilizes an asteroid or something else to collect moon just dust out there and actually clean up the solar system. But it's all a product of design and utilization of engineering, and they it's pretty obvious, especially by what they found on the moon. When you get about this, when Neil Armstrong steps out on the moon, and this is how far his foot is sinking into the lunar dust, that the moon it's like an ionized collector where the solar system, and it was energized or something that created that effect where a lot of that lunar dust is compacted on the planet, and it's evenly dispersed all over the planet. You just start having to think like, how does E.T. think? And when you start thinking like E.T. thinks, that world is by intelligent design, then it opens up a new universe out there. It's not a closed universe anymore, it's an open universe, and it's also a very interesting universe. Here's Dione. It's a nice icy planet, but this is a good picture of what I possibly think the Earth could have looked like in transportation. They just freeze the whole planet in its atmosphere, and what you're looking at is a gigantic snowball with a good covering of ice, and they can now move the planet. I mean, the Earth could be totally moved, and that's something they can do out there, and that's what you would be looking at on the planet Earth, just a huge snowball where the ocean and everything else is just frozen, and then they can run it through a vortex. But here again, you notice how smooth you got. It looks like a pearl. There's no thing out there in interstellar space that will create that natural roundness. Gravitation doesn't have the ability to mold that rock into a nice round snowball like that. It has to be done design. It's just like rolling a snowball out there in the yard in the middle of the winter. You create the snowman. Well, E.T. also created this planet, and that's the reason why it's round. There's nothing interstellar. You can tumble rock in a vortex and stuff, and you're not going to get this roundness out there. It's not going to be evenly dispersed. You can go through a rock tumbler, and you'll look at that and you'll see that in an asteroid field, but you won't get this pearl effect. The only place you can get this pearl effect is an oyster. And if you understand the process that the oyster uses to create this nice pearl, then you'll understand stellar evolution, stellar design. It operates on the same principle. So here again is E.T. is actually creating. There's methane lakes they discovered on Titan. Good pictures of nebulas and stuff. You know, these are good Hubble Space Telescope pictures. Shows you what they're zooming into. And if you were operating the Hubble, you just, push your button and you zoom in. And you get this picture here, this view here. So you kind of get a feel for what it would be like to, if you had access to Hubble. One of my ideals, if I was in charge of the International Space Station, I would have got Sky and Telescope out there, and I'm not Bill Nye over at the Planetary Society, but I would have created a project where you could actually put some smaller versions of Hubble up there and mount them to the space station up there, and then they could be remotely operated by people on the planet. I mean, it could be the Planetary Society. And you just get observation out there of different places that normally can't be covered by Hubble. The more telescopes you put out there, the better off you are, the more interest there's going to be, because you get a lot more viewing out there. They're improving telescope optics to when they're used, especially on the big telescopes and stuff, to clean up atmospheric distortion. But still, the best place to view interstellar space is getting outside the Earth's atmosphere and all that atmospheric distortion. It's improving, but it's still the best place. So I mean, what they could have done is they could have made the Planetary Society pretty interesting and stuff. Or the role, there's several different National Science Foundation. They're all limited in money and what they can do, but how much would a good telescope? There's plenty of telescope makers out at Sky and Telescope magazine, and people that have built them and stuff, and they know how to create a telescope that they could put up there. They could have taken up there on a Soyuz or something, or when the space shuttle was still out there, and not cost a whole lot of money. I mean, I don't think NASA probably would have charged much of anything, especially if it wasn't, if you can create a telescope as big as this room and put it up there, you know, a planetary society like, or the national, just different kinds of science societies they could actually afford and put up there. Here's a good picture of the Pleiades. Here's a good example of that nebular gas has been cleared out, and it's a good example of intelligent design, because now you're seeing that now ET is showing you that, hey, I've got the ability to clear up that nebular gas that's giving all that light and stuff. And now I've got some nice, pretty new star formations, and ET is basically showing you that in the picture. So, that's what you're looking at as far as what we're observing out there in the Pleiades. It's showing a piece of stellar evolution and stuff, and I know I'm out there because that's one of the reasons why that's done. I would do that too, just to show, hey, let's show people the rest of the universe, hey, that, extraterrestrials are doing this, and there's a reason for existence. I know that there's extraterrestrials that are like me. Doesn't mean they would look like me, but doesn't mean they don't think like I do. Here's a picture of a supernova explosion, and you get a nice bright red star. They are watching the gas. They are watching they've got some active pictures of the gas and its movement and stuff. That's one of the reasons why Hubble does that digital enhancement and stuff, that color enhancement, so they can watch when the explosion happens, they can watch how the gas accelerates and how far that's going to go. There's a large Magellan cloud. That's a good picture of that. There's a lot of good zoom in pictures, so if you want to know what it's like operating the Hubble Space Telescope, I would recommend buying this book, because it kind of gives you a feel for what it's like to have a big telescope. Well, that does it for that one.